Obviously there was no guarantee, but it was worth a shot to try, so I did. The briefing was done, the guests left their table and exited the room. We all filed back to our tables, similar to like students going back to their desk in a classroom, and we go on to set it. So now I'm sitting at my computer, I'm still trying to figure out why Maschine isn't working properly with my laptop now. I'm checking out servers and stuff like that. Thankfully Wi-Fi was provided, or else I would have had to use my phone to get an internet connection to kind of browse some forums to figure out why my system isn't working. There are other producers in the room, so it's like a room of about 20, I'm gonna say 20 producers, maybe 15, all on tables in a row, and everybody's making music to figure out what they're gonna do to pitch. When I saw the brief like a few days before Friday, I don't remember exactly how many days beforehand, but I would have liked them to be further ahead, but obviously things aren't perfect. I knew that I already had some songs made in my library that I had on my phone that would fit what they were looking for. They were songs that I worked on for a month or so to really get right, and obviously, you know, it takes different amounts of time for a producer to make music. You can do it in 5 minutes, or it can take you a month, or it can take you a year. There's no one way to produce music, at least I felt that way. So we're in a room again with a bunch of producers on tables, and everybody has on headphones, and some producers had their laptops with their headphones cranked up all the way up. You could totally hear what they're working on. And there are other moments where the PA system will start playing music really loud and then cut off and stuff like that. And there's people walking around and just, I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe there's something wrong with me. No, I don't think there's something wrong with me. I have a preference for how I like to work on music, and it's private. I like to be in this room. That's why I work so hard to have this place to myself to work on music. There's nobody walking around. I don't have to hear someone else working on music down the hall. And you know, someone could easily say, all right, well, if you're serious about this music industry, then you gotta be willing to deal with that. And I don't think that's true. If you're able to create an environment that's conducive to your creative process, I think that's what you should have. I really do think that's what you should have. That wasn't very a comfortable experience for me. I've never been in a situation where I'm in a room with 10 other producers and we're all looking to make great music or to have great music to present, so that we can kind of get feedback or critiques about our music with the intention of starting a relationship with some people who are seriously in the industry. That wasn't very a comfortable feeling for me. It's not something I've done before, and it's not something I plan to do a lot of in the future. Again, when I've been making music for most of my adult life and teen life, I've done it privately. I even go, and I'm a hypocrite there. I'll say I'm a hypocrite there, because sometimes I make beats live while streaming on YouTube. And if you follow my channel, you've seen me do that. But at the end of the day, it's in an environment that I'm in full control of. So here I'm working with my music. There's a producer in front of me, there's a producer behind me. I'm hearing other people's headphones turned all the way up with their sound leaking all the way through the room. I'm trying to fix my computer. I finally eventually got it fixed. I actually had to step out for a little bit just to kind of get some air, because I'm kind of like, dang, this is kind of a stressful situation for me. But my intentions was to follow through on this and to go through it regardless of how comfortable it is. That this industry is not going to provide you the most comfortable experiences, but I do feel like for what we paid, it should have been a more comfortable experience. Because it's uncomfortable now not knowing which way to go and knowing you have to try this and that to get to the next level. It's uncomfortable now that the truth is that there's always going to be someone that not liking music. It's uncomfortable now that tomorrow's not guaranteed to you. So a little bit of something to help me zone out in my music would have helped out a lot. Unfortunately, me sitting in a room with 20 producers working on music at the same time, knowing that we all got to pitch our tracks soon, just wasn't quite what I was looking for. But again, I had no previous experience and I was willing to try it. It's not always going to be comfortable. Thankfully, I was able to kind of finally get locked in and start working on some tracks for a pitch and stuff like that, just to kind of say, hey, this is what I can do. Try things out. I have to say this, some of the producers I met were incredible, and a good thing was that I was able to meet some producers that said that I helped them from my YouTube channel. You know, from the remakes that I have on this channel, that it helped them out, and they encouraged me to keep doing that, and that really made me feel really good. I love to hear that encouragement from an actual person. And you know, sometimes I meet people in the real world who recognize me from my YouTube channel. Thankfully, all the experiences have been positive ones, but it's uncomfortable knowing that you don't know who's out there watching you and stuff like that. So, but for it to be mostly or pretty much entirely a positive experience, meeting people and knowing that someone's been helped from what I did on YouTube is always a great feeling to have, and I always cherish that. So that was definitely a positive thing. So let's fast forward a few hours, and now it's time to pitch the music. So we all come back to the front. We all zipped up our music, and the staff was very helpful in making sure that we got our music for the pitching. that was all organized and stuff like that. And we all sat in the front, the panelists came down, and we started listening to music. So one by one, the max songs we were able to pitch for each guy was 6 songs. And in those 6 songs, we could pitch to one guy or the other, or whatever we felt was the best strategy to really get our songs heard. With my technology, I couldn't produce a lot of songs there, and I wasn't really feeling that vibe of making a beat in there that was outside of my element. I was able to at least have 4 songs. A lot of them were already done because I felt like they lined right up with the briefing that we were emailed ahead of time. This process of pitching music is, to me, what took the longest, or was the kind of most strenuous aspect of it. After each song was played, or after all the songs were played, you would then finally hear back from the panelists. And you would hear that, okay, yeah, we thought this about that, we liked this, we didn't like that, this sounded dated, that sounds fresh, this was cool, this wasn't that bad. And this process kept going on. And I remember when it came to mine, each song you're actually supposed to, we were given a microphone so that people can hear you on the internet, and they probably was recording the event, where you pretty much you let the panelists know, okay, this is what the song's about. You tell them about the song, hey, you could use this for this, you can do that for that, and you sell it. You know, you're selling it to these panelists. But again, at the same time, this isn't the time where they're making any final decisions. I do think that this was a good time to make a great impression, and they sat there and they listened very intently, and they were very serious about hearing the music that the producer provided, which I thought was really cool. However, because there's so many producers, this is where it got late. But the cool thing was that those panelists was willing to stay there. Eventually they got to my music and I pitched it to them. I told them about what it's about, what this was and what that was, and we played it. It was cool because a lot of people liked what I did, and the panelists both said it was really good music and they were interested in hearing more. And that's a good thing to hear from someone serious in the game. And they really couldn't really give me any critiques about it. I actually recorded the experience. I'm not going to play it back. It's for my own personal records, but they really didn't have anything to really critique on my music. I'm quite sure if they listened to it longer, there might have been more opportunity to critique it or say, hey, this could have been better or that better, which is fine. It's totally part of the game, which is why it's okay for me to critique my experience here, because, I mean, let's face it, there was 20 producers being critiqued in that room that day. Why can't one critique his experience of being part of that event? Well, anyway, especially when he's a producer that paid a substantial fee to be a part of it. This process kept going on and on and on and on, and by the time it was all done, it was great. And at the end of the night, we were forwarded the email of each person's email address, and it was told to us, it was stressed to us, okay, now it's up to you. You have to follow up, and you have to be the person that sticks out in their email box, and you have to stick out, and you have to follow up. And I'll be the first to tell you and admit that I have not been the greatest at following up. I've gotten discouraged very quickly. I don't hear back. And the panelists talk about, and that was something I need to hear, so that's another positive thing too, aside from being uncomfortable most of the time, was that, hey guys, we don't mean ill to you. This is what they said. We don't mean anything negative to you. Yes, they're busy and they're in their position, so a lot of people are sending the music. It doesn't mean something bad, and maybe you need to hear this from me, that if you're sending to someone who's in a position that could potentially help you, that if you're following up with them on the inbox on a regular basis, that if they don't email you back or don't follow, it doesn't mean that they hate you. It doesn't mean it's anything bad or negative like that. Sometimes they're just busy or they got other things to focus on. This whole experience was not a guarantee. This whole experience, to me, was an opportunity to try something with the potential of it being something else. It was a costly investment, but I'm willing to try something like this to hear that. So to hear from them say, hey, that doesn't mean give up, you keep trying. So they don't answer their phone or write back, or they just kind of don't provide something you need anymore. And you personally have to gauge that for yourself. And I wish there was just a turnkey answer for me or for you watching this, that's how that works. That you just keep doing this one thing right, and it'll work out for you. But there's no clear